Good morning, folks. Um, just some trucker news today. I can't talk very long. I'm kind of running late. Had a little bit of a flat tire this morning. Um, so I got an email from Commercial Carrier Journal. If you don't know who the CCJ is, please go look that up online. If you're a trucker, they put out very helpful information for truck drivers. And what's happened in this email is there was an article talking about two carriers that the FMCSA has gone in and shut down. That would be Pac Express LLC and Texas, I believe it's Instrumental LLC. These two companies worked in tangent. They were basically the same company. They just had two different names. I'm sure some of your older drivers know what I'm talking about when I talk about that. Okay. Um, but the FMCSA came in and they shut them down for egregious violations of hours of service and equipment violations. Now, if you are driving for a company that is pushing you to violate the hours of service and is making you drive pieces of crap, you need to go elsewhere. Okay? Um, you've worked, if you're a driver, you've worked very hard to get that driver's license. And if you are driving for a company like that, the likelihood of you keeping your driving record clean is zero. Now, I understand that, we're living in a time frame where finding jobs is very hard. But here's the reality. This is your career. Your career. And if you have to take a month off to find a company which will allow you to keep your career, because this is what we're talking about here. When people get all involved in the money, and they're worried about making money, and they're worried about the paying bills. Honey, this is your career. If you get all these violations on your driver's license, or you get in an accident because of an equipment failure, they're going to blame you first. They're not going to go after the company. They're going to blame you, the driver, because the rules state that you're supposed to pre-trip that truck and that equipment. So if you don't, because you're in a hurry, and you get in an accident, and they can prove that you didn't pre-trip the truck, or that you knew that there was a problem with that equipment and you drove it anyway, you're the one going to jail, not the company. You're the one that's going to get your driver's license revoked and lose your career, not the company. The company is going to continue to employ drivers and do the same thing to them. Now, that's a little bit of wisdom for you this morning. Don't let these companies make you violate your hours of service. Don't drive equipment that is broken. Get it fixed. Now, I understand that, some companies, you're way out in the middle of nowhere, and sometimes you have to do what you have to do to get to a safe space. I understand that, okay? Um, but the reality is, that only happens 1 in a million times, okay? You blow a tire, and you might, when you blow the tire, you might blow off the mud flap, okay? Or tear something up on the trailer, all right? I've seen that happen. But the likelihood of sudden catastrophic things happening is pretty freaking low, okay? There's normally signs like metal fatigue and signs that you can see that will tell you that this part is going bad, okay? There's normally signs, okay? You know. I mean, if you've been driving for any amount of time, you know what I'm talking about. My whole point is this. These two companies employed, it looks to me like about 15 drivers. Now, I'm just going to be blunt here. That's 15 dumb motherfuckers. Because what they're doing is they're putting their license on the line and their career on the line for a company that does not give a living crap about them at all. These companies don't care about you. All right? If you do find a company that does relatively care about their drivers, darling, don't move. Stay there. Even if you have a problem with somebody there, don't move. Stay there. I've been in this business 20 years. And I'm telling you, there's companies out there that will treat you as if you are part of the truck. You are the truck number. You no longer have a name. You no longer have a right to sleep when you need to sleep because of your circadian rhythm. You no longer have that right. You no longer have the right to say, I don't want to go there. No, you don't have that right, okay? You are their slave. That's how some of these companies treat their drivers. So, if you do find a company that treats their drivers well, it takes care of their equipment, and doesn't try to make their drivers violate hours of service, even if you have a problem sometimes with what they have you doing, which, let's be honest, there's some runs I don't want to do, okay? There's some runs that everybody doesn't want to do, okay? Stay there. Because having been in this business for 20 years, I can tell you that these companies will con you into walking into the door. And then once you get there, everything changes. You know, what they said is not true. Okay? And I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir right now if you've been in the business for any amount of time. I'm mostly directing this at newer drivers, okay? Don't put your career in jeopardy for a job. Because as a driver, there's always other jobs out there, okay? And now on to some other news, not dealing with trucking. I got an email yesterday also from One Cowboys Freedom. If you don't know what that is basically the family of Lavoy Finicum. And he was the man who was shot dead in Oregon by law enforcement personnel. And they are still pursuing court proceedings concerning that. And the Ninth Circuit of Appeals has denied the current appeal, and so they're going to take that to the Supreme Court. Also, yesterday, Yellowstone popped. Now, I don't mean it erupted, I mean it popped. Like something underground popped. And this was felt all across the seismographs, and it was felt by several people, and it was reported by several people. And if you want to know more about that, I would go on Mary Greeley News. She does a very good uh, explanation of the volcanic tremors going on there, the harmonic tremors going on there right now. Uh, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on that. Also, another good place to look is at SpectroNet, and they have up there the seismographs on pretty much every volcano in the world. Okay, and you can just watch it in real time. Um, but yeah, that's something to be aware of and something we need to keep our eye on. Because the way Mary was talking last night is very concerning. I'm not going to lie, it's very concerning when it does that. Okay, I got to go, so bye, Cyclone!